that we did want to talk about. Just a couple of key points, and then we also want to explain to you how to track progress in a program. So just say you're starting a home fitness program and you have no idea, like, should you do the same workout? Should you do different workouts every single time? Are there certain things you should be tracking? Like, hopefully we can cover a couple of those. So it'll help keep you motivated as you're training. If you can track your progress, you'll know whether you're improving or not. One of the things that we wanted to talk about was making sure that you set boundaries at home. Jeremy, I don't know if you had this problem, but it's very hard to pull myself away from the computer and just stop my work day. Which I know sounds pretty odd, because most people just want to run away from work, but it's just really easy to keep working while I'm at home. I can always get 5 more minutes in. I don't have to worry about a drive. I don't have to worry about any of these other things. And then before I know it, I've spent an extra hour working on something that could have waited till tomorrow. And that hour could have been used to train. So I don't know if you have any strategies or anything that you've been using at home that kind of making sure that you keep those boundaries.
I kind of fall into the same category as you. I find that it's a lot easier to fall into the trap of working past like a typical or normal work day, just because everything is so accessible. And so I think a strategy would just be making hard deadlines, being intentional about the time that you are going to log off, and then completely log out. And so whatever that means, if that means you're shutting down your computer completely, maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe putting your laptop in your bag, putting it in your room, maybe taking it out of sight, but just having a hard cutoff to where you're not building up a habit of working but not working, and then you find yourself constantly working throughout the night. And it's also difficult to navigate because you're working from home, and everybody's working from home now. Also, whoever you're working for, they know that you're accessible typically. So you have to make that hard deadline, be intentional for yourself, because if you don't manage your time, other people will.
That's pretty good. You should write that down. Manage your time, other people will. One thing that I've used at home that so far it's working pretty well is I let my what hours I'm working that day. And I'm like, don't let me sit in the office past this point, because she'll just assume that I'm working. Let your family know, or if you have roommates know, they're like, these are the hours that I'm working this day, plus or minus 10 minutes or whatever. But if I work till 5 today, and if I'm in here at 5:30 still working, well, she probably won't let me make it to 5:30. She'll come in and be like, hey, are you done for the day? Because she's kind of like my accountability buddy, making sure that I'm not putting in too many more hours than I need to be for that day. I need to be spending with my family. So, and that's been working pretty well here at home.
Yeah, it's good for you. It's good for you.
Yeah. Well, it took me a couple weeks to kind of get in that rhythm. So I'm like, hey, why don't you just come get me? And then after that, I wrap up whatever last minute emails. I make sure everything's okay for the next day, and then I shut everything down, and I'm done for the day. So,
Nice.
So that's worked well for me, but that took some experimenting. So maybe you can have an accountability buddy at home, or set an alarm, do something that might let you know, like, okay, today's done. And well, okay, so we already covered making time to exercise, work-life balance, family time. Oh, and a quote that I don't know whose quote this is, but I wrote it down. It's the beginning of a great day starts the night before. So whenever it comes to planning, making time, I don't know who to give credit for that. Let me know if you this. If you need time during the day to train, make sure you remove as many barriers as possible the day before, if you can. So I have workout clothes put aside. I have my lunch made in the fridge, so I don't have to take extra time to cook meals. I block that time off on my calendar. I let my family know when I'm going to work out, and I'm like, okay, this is an hour I really want to get some training in. And I have all of these things so everybody knows what I'm doing, not to bother me. And I have stuff ready. I'll set up, I have a little home gym, and I'll set up the home gym in advance with all the things that I want to do the night before or the next day. And so I have no excuse. The only thing is just getting up, changing, and walking into the garage. And that's, I don't know if you have any other tips.
That's good. That's solid advice right there. The only thing is that working out, especially working from home and trying to work out, is the biggest thing I can say is intentionality. Just make sure that you're intentional. And with intentionality, planning the day ahead, like Alex was talking about, it may even be beneficial for you to plan your week out ahead. If you can designate, let's say if you want to work out 3 times a week, you designate which 3 days a week you're going to work out. And so then when you're incorporating that into your schedule, you're like Alex said, you're thinking about the boundaries, the obstacles that could get in the way. And so when that day comes, you already know, you already have a plan for the day. Versus fluidly just trying to go with the flow as the day approaches, it's very easy to put off exercise rather than incorporating exercise into your day.
Very good point. And you can schedule your whole week around those 3 training sessions. Mm-hmm. If you schedule those earlier on in the week. So on Monday, you look at your calendar for that week and you find a few time blocks and you block off that hour out of your day, and those are going to be the days that you train. I think that'll be really good because there's no meetings will interfere with it. There's a lot of things that could take up that time. And I don't know about your calendar, but mine fills up pretty quick.
So you have to make exercise a priority.
Yeah. Definitely. Do you want to give any tips on how to put together like a basic exercise program? Because I think we've already talked about training with no equipment. We've already covered a few tips that people can do. But as far as, do you have any general advice for somebody trying to put together a program before I rant?
Putting together a basic program, I think the simplest program I would think to put together is like think about the amount of time that you want to dedicate to exercising. So I essentially would say maybe ideally 5 days a week if you're being active. But maybe 5 days a week you split up into 3 days you're going to do resistance training, and maybe 2 days you're focused on cardio. So for instance, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're doing body weight exercises like push-ups, squats, dips, pull-ups if you have a pull-up bar. And then Tuesday and Thursdays, you're more cardio focused. That way you kind of split up the time between resistance training and cardio. And then you have a plan and a routine, something that's easy to replicate for the next week. And then you can build off of that week to determine your progress going forward.
That's pretty good. I don't have a lot to add to that.
I think the examples that you have will.
Okay. Yeah, if you want, we can add to those if you want to.
Okay. Let me share my screen here. Wrong screen. Are you seeing? Is it the right screen?
Yeah, it's the right screen, but you might have to move us. We're like right in front of the. You move us over to like a corner, like that little camera bit.
I think it looks different on your end than it does on my end, because we are not in the way on my end.
Okay.
Where are we on yours?
Dead center.
All right. Let's see. Can you move you?
Is that me? If not, that's super embarrassing. Oh. Can we edit that out? Edit that out. Okay. Well, training days. Was it? Is that on my end? So the first day, it says day 1, AMRAP with as many reps or as many rounds as possible. In this case, it is as many rounds as possible. What this training day is it basically gives you, you have 20 step-ups, whatever it is, whether you have a step outside your door, a share, as long as you're doing it safely. a very strong coffee table, whatever it is, as long as you can step up on something safely. And then you also do 20 push-ups or modified push-ups, 20 mountain climbers, and 10 pull-ups, or some exercise that's kind of equivalent. I mean, you can even fill up one of those large laundry detergent containers with water if you have an empty one, and you can do bent over rows with it. Something that you can do for like your upper back. And you just go through as many of those as you can within a 20-minute period. And then however many rounds that you've gotten, which a round would be completing all the reps for all the exercises one time. So just say you're able to do this twice in 20 minutes. All you have to do is, in order to determine whether you're getting better or not, is to see how many rounds you can do. And if that number starts going up, then you did 2 previously and you're able to get almost all the way through 3. That's an improvement. Your capacity for work, your muscular endurance has increased. And then you can just keep tracking that number over time. And as long as that number is going up, your performance is increasing. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, that's good. That's good.
And that's for kind of like a circuit training, basically, for circuit training template. Do just straight sets, which would be like day 2. Straight sets are essentially like you just do a set of push-ups and then you rest a minute. Another set of push-ups, you rest a minute. Sit-ups, rest a minute. And essentially you just count how many reps that you were able to do until you couldn't do anymore. So if you were to do a set of push-ups and you're able to get 10, and then the next time you train push-ups, you're able to get 11 or 12, that means your performance is increasing. And those are slow and steady increases. And you just look over those numbers. And as long as those numbers are going up, then your performance is improving. Do you have anything to add?
With the sets, I would also add to be mindful of the amount of time that you dedicate towards rest. So pay attention in between sets. Don't just rest for however long you want. Try to set for guidelines. So if you are going to do a set of 3 sets of push-ups, maybe you do a set of push-ups and you rest for 2 minutes. Then you do a set of push-ups and you rest for 2 minutes. And a way to increase once you get a little bit more advanced is to decrease the rest time. And it will also make it a little bit more challenging. But just pay attention to the amount of time that you're resting throughout those sets.
Yeah. Well, that'll keep the training session within a manageable amount of time. Like you'd be surprised, like don't take a break. Like put a timer on your phone and give yourself like an actual solid 2 minutes to go off. Otherwise you'd be like 10 minutes and then you'd be like, your body would be cold. You have to like re-warm up in order to train again. So sure. But that's definitely one way of doing it. That'll help with your time management too.
Yeah.
Along with the training session. And then for day 3, one of the ways that you can track this is just say you're doing work for a certain amount of time. It shows how efficient you're getting with exercise. So say you do step-ups and originally they were really hard. For 30 seconds, you're able to do 10 step-ups. And then the next time you train, you're able to do 15 or 16 within that 30-second period. That means you're able to get more reps, the same type of work interval. So you're getting faster at doing what you're doing. And again, that's another way of tracking. So really almost in all cases, if you think about it, as long as those numbers are going up, whether reps are going up or rounds are going up, that's how you know when you're improving or not. It isn't always linear, so you're not going to, every single time you train, you might not improve. It might be like every other time, or you might go a training session or 2 and then your performance doesn't improve. It doesn't mean change, just sometimes the changes are slow. A lot of this stuff doesn't happen overnight. And it also depends on like depending on how fit you are. If you're already really fit, it's going to be harder to make improvements than if you're just kind of just starting out. Do you have anything to add?
Also on that note, I mean, if you are somebody who doesn't typically exercise and you're a beginner or you're just kind of getting back into it, at the very beginning, the onset of starting to exercise again, it may take you longer to recover. And so you may be quite sore the next time on day 2 when you're trying to work out. So also be mindful of that. You may not, when you first start out, you may not actually be able to do the same amount of reps and sets that you were able to do the first time, just because your body's still trying to adjust and get used to exercising. So you may So don't get discouraged if that is the case.
Yeah, and if we're trying to post like a workout of the day most days. If for whatever reason sessions seem like if their exercises are really, really hard, it's okay to kind of taper them back slightly to kind of fit your fitness needs. Because it's okay to be a little bit sore, but we want you to be able to move the next day too. So if you roll out of bed, and you just can't even, like you're just kind of
function.
rolling around. Yeah. Like we want you to be able to move. Like we don't want you so sore. So you're going to have to kind of play around with those. So those are just general workouts.
And with those, if you're taking a look at our daily workouts and you have questions, or if you feel like this is too hard or maybe it's too easy and you need modifications, you feel free to just shoot one of us an email or comment on it, and we can try to provide you some modifications that you can do.
Cool. And then day 4. So if you ever decide that you want to do cardio, which is something I don't do very often, there's 2 ways to track that. And these are very, very general overviews. We didn't want to make this like an exercise physiology lecture. But essentially you can either have a predetermined block of time, or you can have a predetermined distance. So a predetermined block of time is like in 20 minutes, let's see how far I can run, or how many miles, or whatever that time block. You just try to get in as much distance as you can within that time block. In that case, as long as that number is going up, that means you're going farther for the same amount of time that you would be training. So just say you did 20 minutes, you decided to go for a jog for 20 minutes and you made it 1.5 miles. And the next time you did that same jog, you went 2 miles. That means your performance has increased a lot from one training session to the next. And if you had a predetermined distance, then if that number goes down, which is time, that's how you know you're improving. So if you give yourself like, I'm going to go run 2 miles and it takes you 22 minutes, and the next time you run 2 miles and it only took you 20, that means your performance is increasing. So that's the only time when numbers go down. That's a good thing. You have anything to add?
Oh, that sounds good.
And then, yeah, that's all I got. Again, if you have, please let us know. We do offer wellness coaching, which isn't exactly this. We don't like write up programs for you. It's usually like a self-led. I probably should have put the description in the text because I'm not going to be able to articulate it well.
Well, coaching is client-led.
Yes.
Like a huge difference between like personal training and even counseling is that personal training, the directive comes from the trainer. The trainer is the person who organizes or who tells you what to do, and you're following suit. In wellness coaching, you're in the driver's seat. So you as a client are in the driver's seat, and the coach is just helping you navigate where you want to go. And so it's helping essentially. Sometimes our thoughts can be convoluted. Sometimes we know maybe what the end goal is. We just don't know how to get there. So the coach helps assist along the way. But the client is the one that actually is basically leading the conversation and topics and the area of focus.
And we're basically there to support you as you problem solve through your life. It's kind of like, and then when you find solutions to whatever, to help lead you to those goals, we didn't give you those solutions. Those solutions you found. We were just helping you find them. But if you are interested, we'll put all of our information in the description of the video, our contact information. So just let us know if you're interested in any kind of coaching, and then we'll reach out to you and set you up with a first appointment, and then we'll figure out who's a better match for you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's it. Sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. To the end of this, I'm very proud of you. And again, just let us know if you have questions.
Yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. All right. Thanks for watching.